Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here with Andy, who's joining us today. His channel is Chelsea Daft. If you want to go and subscribe to it, I've got a link down below, so go and check that out. Andy, it's your first time on the channel, if I'm not wrong. And,
it is, yeah. First time.
I've watched
Thanks for having me
a
on.
few of your videos. I don't know why we haven't got you on earlier, to be honest with you. But listen, late's better than never. We've had a pretty interesting start to the season. First of all, before we even go into it, I want to know, like, what's your take on Chelsea over the past couple of years? Because, like, we haven't even had a conversation. We've just jumped straight into the recording. Like, what's your take on Chelsea? And then obviously we can look at what's going on at the moment as well.
Well, the last couple of seasons, having a bit of a rest, weren't we? You know, we won everything, so we thought we'd give other people a chance. No, it's the problem that I think the problem that we've got is I come from a time where I was born in '74, so I started going to Chelsea in 1980 when I was 6. So I lived through the 80s where we were in the old second division. I stood behind electric fences on a Tuesday with 8,000 fans watching Grimsby at home. So when we had what we had with the Abramovich era and everything else and the success we had over 2 decades, we've sort of, unfortunately, what we've done is we've sort of set the benchmark, and that's what we're judging ourselves against time and time again. And I just think that the whole situation with the Abramovich thing and the investment, it's become a bit of a business for the football club. My channel is normally quite positive. I turn quite negative with it because this data-driven approach for signings and stuff like that. I mean, we can get into it a bit later on, but I just think the last couple of seasons, it's up and down. Last year we had the success of the Conference League, and let's face it, it was tough when it got to the semi and the final, but. And then we won the Club World Cup, which we never expected to do. And fair play to the manager because he identified the weakness in PSG with the fullbacks bombing on and Vitinha dropping in and exposed it. But I've been quite vocal of the fact that we seem to be a one tactic team, and you're not going to win the Premier League by doing that. So I just think that I think some of the signings have been great. Some of them have been but then some of them have just been a bit of a mess, haven't they? They sign and then they get sold on and moved on and stuff like this. But it's a bit up and down. Not very stable, but let's see what happens.
So judging by that, you were obviously pretty happy under Abramovich. Then Bowley Clearlake came in, and since then you've struggled. Is that
I think good way of describing it? Yeah, I think it's. I mean, for people of an age, it's like, you know, I never dreamed of seeing Chelsea winning what they did. I mean, we used to. Back in the day, what we used to look forward every season was to try and finish top half of the Premier League and try and have a good cut run and beat one of the big teams. That's what it used to be, and that all shifted. So I'm thankful, obviously, for what happened with Abramovich coming in and what happened with the club. But what we did is we built. I think, and when I say it was a benchmark, we sort of built a foundation, we built a core, and we just added to that core, but the core remained intact and stuff like that. And I think what you need to do with any football team is you got to get that core right. You got to get the core right. You got to get the leaders. I think the game has changed. There's not enough leaders in the game anymore. And I think you just you just need people that are going to be there and you just add. So ideally, I mean, what you want to do, you want to get a nucleus of a squad and maybe add 1 or 2, not the 87 that we seem to be selling. And you know what I mean? So it's just, I guess what we're looking for is a bit of stability. And I think that's been the problem over the last few seasons. It's like we've seen, I mean, poor Graham Potter and he's, dealing with 34 players in the squad. I mean, who would have thought that? That's just so ridiculous, isn't it? We went from being...
They had to extend the changing room, yeah.
yeah. Like you name the subs and you still got like a full team that's not even involved. So, but yeah, like I say, I think for me it's got to be stability. It's got to be, have that nucleus, have that core. There's an argument that you've probably got some of that core there now. But it's taken a while to get there. But like I say, I just think there's things that we need to improve on, and things that we're lacking a little bit, and things that I think the manager and the coaching staff need to do. Don't get me started on Man United. So it's just, yeah. So I've just literally finished the video where I've had a little bit of a rant. But yeah,
about.
I mean, the Man United game. So for example, I mean, I was annoyed at first anyway, because I was watching the game and I was annoyed because of the change that we made. But then to find out that Cole Palmer's playing with an injury, and apparently this is not 100% confirmed, but apparently he's tore his groin again. He's out for 2 months. And it's like, oh, so when Sanchez goes off, you think to yourself, no, I was thinking to myself, go 4-4-1. Just go 4-man midfield, keep the 2 wingers on. So in this case, don't take Esteval off, take Palmer off. Go Esteval and whoever it was on the other side, and Neto, and then go the 2-man midfield and put João Pedro on his own up front. And at least we've got stability, at least we've got like a shape, and at least we've got an attacking threat. But within half an hour, to take all 3 off behind João Pedro, and bearing in mind that the manager sat and had this deep conversation with his coaching staff, and they all agreed, I was like, you might as well just throw the towel in. So there's things where it's a bit up and down. You know, my wife always says that us football fans are a bit fickle. 1 minute we're up, 1 minute we're down. Yeah. But like I say, it's I think it's just, like I say, it's having a bit of stability. It's having a direction. It's having a nucleus, a core. It's having leaders. And it's just some of these decisions in game as well. It's just, yeah.
I think, you know, it's interesting when you talk about stability, because I would argue that, well, I think it's obvious in terms of the Clearlake-Bowley era, this is the most stable we've ever been. And that goes to show how tough it's been at times. I mean, this season as a whole, I mean, the Man United game, I completely empathise with a lot of fans. I kind of understood what Maresca was trying to do. I understood it because you know that he loves bodies in the midfield. Yeah. But the vision and what actually happened on the pitch were 2 totally different things, right? Yeah. And I do think we missed a lot of width, you know, not having wingers on the pitch. That's why James was our biggest threat, especially in the second half. I think that, yeah, even though we criticised Maresca, like, I'll be honest with you, the Man United game, the number one blame is on Sanchez, you know, because you wouldn't even be talking about Maresca if we still had 11 men on the pitch, right? Not in the same way, at least. I presume you obviously watched the Lincoln game as well, Andy. I was there, and very, very interesting seeing the reaction to that game. I don't want to say any names in particular, but you know, people coming out saying it's embarrassing, talking about certain players in a way that, by the way, like I'm very, you know, you have your right to have your opinion, whoever you are. You should criticize players, managers, the board, the ownership. You know, I've got nothing against it. I just don't understand why we did it after Lincoln. Like, if we've lost the game, fair enough. If we would have been on a big run of poor form, you know, like we had last season from sort of January until late March, wherever it was, like, totally understandable. You know, it's hard to keep it together. But how many games we've played? 5, 6, 7? I can't think off the top of my head. And people are already losing it. And I'm seeing calls of people wanting the manager out. People talk about the recruitment as well. That's definitely a big topic. But I mean, after Lincoln, what was your reaction to that game?
I was disappointed again, because I think there's a for the most part, there's a sort of a common theme that we start slow in games. I don't know why we seem to start a little bit too slow. It's not quite clicking. We've got a big problem with teams that sit in and play compact. They give us the width, but they keep it tight. They bring their midfield in front of their back four, and they close down the space, then negate the space, and we sort of struggle with that. And it's like, I guess it's if we're honest, it's just this thing. We're going to Lincoln. We should be rolling these people over, but these guys have got their own pride. They're working hard and that sort of stuff, and they're fighting for every ball, and they're putting tackles in and stuff like that. And I guess I think the problem you got as well is the fact that, I mean, when you got players that are in and out, or players that don't play as often as they do, and they get the chance, they're trying to impress, and the cohesion in the team sort of, it just I think the first half was very, very frustrating. We come out second half and we do what we need to do. We get 2 early goals and then we sort of settle in, but we don't kick on, do we? And that's the thing. It's like, it's Chelsea at their very best, and it's been this way for a number of years. They're at their very best when they play instinctive, fast, attacking football, get the ball wide, go direct. When it becomes too slow and too laboured, and and we allow teams to sit in, and we end up going side to side, and you sit and watch the 2 centre backs pass it amongst themselves, and it's just, and I just think that the problem is we're in an era where social media is just an animal. I would never sit and dig out. I'm never going to turn around and sit and dig out players and say, oh, they should be sacked, or all this sort of nonsense. I'm never going to ask. I mean, there's been times where I've sort of said I've questioned the manager a lot, depending on who the manager was and in the situation back in the day. But I guess what it is, it's we're all football fans. We all know how good we can be. We all know how well we can play because we've seen it. And when it doesn't happen, you sort of get frustrated with it, and you wonder, well, is it the way we set up? Is it the players' attitude to the game? It's like, I get the frustration 100%. As I said, it goes another level, social media. I avoid it like the plague. But yeah, it's just
actually, you don't even look at it.
I don't even bother with it. No, I'm like, it's no point, because you can see. I'll give it the next morning and have a look through. But you know exactly what it's like. You know how it goes, and people are getting
people
dug
get
out.
very emotional, don't they? And
yeah,
I mean, it's understandable. I mean, I will say this: like, I agree with what you're saying about digging players out. That you shouldn't do that. Generally speaking, but I do think there's a time and a place. I just don't think it's now. I just don't really understand the logic. It's almost like people are trying to predict our downfall so that they can then say in however many months I was right. So I don't really understand the logic there.
It's the thing is that they've always been after Chelsea. They've always been after Chelsea because if you think about it, Abramovich was the first to come in and spend the money. We sort of set the benchmark, and now you've got the Bowleys come in, and you've got the likes of Carragher and Neville and that, the £2 billion or whatever they called us and this sort of stuff. And Carragher's still going on at us, and he's had to sit there at the weekend and go, it may seem like I'm the Chelsea fans for having a go and all this sort of stuff. But like I say, it's just it's social media and the way it goes now. And again, that comes because of the success we've had. The fan base grows around the world, and that's all they know is the success. So when it doesn't go right, people are on it. People are questioning why they dig people out. That's what it comes down to. But I just think there's like I think what it is as a football fan, what you want when you see a player walk out on the pitch representing you and your shirt, then you want to see effort. You want to see 8 out of 10 every week. If you don't get it.
Commitment.
If you don't get it, and commitment, at least commitment, yes. So maybe people have been questioning the attitude when we took on Lincoln. They thought we were just going to turn up and turn them over. But the thing is, it doesn't matter what game you play. If you cross that white line, you've got to earn the right to win it. You've got to earn the right for a point. And if you don't earn the right, you're not going to get it. Simple as that. And I think that's why people get frustrated.
I mean, I personally thought that I think everyone thought we'd beat Lincoln, but I wasn't one of these people who thought it would be an easy game. I think only like 1 or 2 stops away from Grimsby, so we all know how that can go. But it was a great home atmosphere. Really impressed with the home fans. Love Lincoln, to be fair. I've got nothing but good things to say about the area as a whole and the people and just everything surrounding the environment on a match day. But yeah, we saw a lot of rotation, didn't we? We saw a lot of players coming in. Obviously, we were speaking about the United game earlier. You had Jorgensen in there. He's getting his opportunity now. I think he probably would have played in this game anyway, but Sanchez was suspended regardless. And you're thinking, okay, stake your claim. This is now your moment to show what you can do. I thought in the Conference League last season, to be honest with you, mate, I thought Jorgensen was really good.
I thought it was all right.
It's not like he had a bad campaign. But when we've got games like Aston Villa, for example, and there was a period where Sanchez was dropped and Jorgensen never really staked his claim. And then you're saying, okay, you've had one chance. Here's your second chance.
Yeah.
And I just thought, to be honest with you, he was worse than even you'd expect from Sanchez. Like I no confidence whatsoever when I saw him in goal.
No, and that's the thing. So if you haven't got that, if you don't feel that yourself, imagine the back four. You know, so like I say, you've got to sit and you've got to build. You have to have like that five. So your back four and your goalkeeper's got to be a unit. Trust each other. You know, you've got to be organised. You know, and more often than not, you need to trust your goalkeeper. And that, I mean, we've been asking for a goalkeeper for God knows how long. Centre back, we didn't get one. So you know, I mean, Sanchez. The thing with Sanchez, and think of like the PSG game, for example. He made some amazing saves. A shot stopper, he's brilliant. When he gets the ball at his feet, he gives me a heart attack at times. A bit like Edouard Mendy used to do. Just takes forever. You're like, get rid of it. But again, I think, and the thing is, because we were used to the likes of Petr Cech for years and Courtois come in, and you know, and they were steady. They were, you know, they would have an 8 out of 10 most games and stuff like that. And I think, you know, and the problem is as well, because there's so much pressure now. I mean, the money in the game has changed everything. You know, the reward you get for finishing top four now, and what it means for clubs and stuff like that, and with it, you know, and the financial fair play and all this sort of stuff, and teams, you know, the goalkeeper makes a mistake, people make a mistake, and you can feel it, and the fans react. And I mean, you had Maresca last year saying, you know, if Sanchez plays a long ball, he's dropped this, you know, this sort of stuff. So
yeah,
I guess
in fairness, we have seen Sanchez a bit more direct. In fairness, I will say that.
Yeah, he has, but he has been, like I say, he's had his moments. He's had some moments, obviously, where we're like, oh my God. But I mean, I'd say probably 75% of the time, I think he's not bad. He's not bad. He's made some great saves. He's come out and made himself big on occasion, and you know, it's just like I say, it's the position where if you make a mistake, it's highlighted because you're supposed to stop anything going in. If you make a mistake, then you're punished. So yeah, it's just we need to address it. We need to address the goalkeeping situation, and that's why the rumours about Manjan's coming out again, isn't it?
I never understood Petrovic. Like, I'm a broken record. I always thought he was our best keeper by a mile. I still think he is a top keeper, top keeper. I think Bournemouth have got a great deal there. I think he's gonna get a move to a top team. I really do. I believe that he has a big move coming. Yeah, I could just imagine like an Atletico Madrid or someone like that years down the line going for Petrovic, because Oblak's getting on a little bit. So you know, something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's just something about the guy I've always enjoyed watching. But besides my bias for Petrovic, Manjan was really frustrating because he's £4 million. But maybe we're going to get that done in the summer. We'll see. I don't think we can be happy with our number one or our number two based on that. What about the back line as well, though, Andy? Because, you know, obviously with Colwell being injured, you mentioned it yourself, right? The centre back was another player that, you know, fans certainly wanted. We were linked with Dean Huijsen. That never came through. What a signing that would have been if we could have got that done. And this sort of gives Maresca that excuse, which I don't necessarily think we want to give. You never want to give a manager an excuse, but you have to appreciate the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
I'm looking at we walked past sort of Joe Shields, Paul and Stanley Lawrence. They all walked past us at Lincoln. In fact, I saw Joe Shields and I said, "Who do you think your man of the match was?" He said, Andre Santos. After about 20 seconds of me chasing him, he almost looked like I was trying to kill him. I was like, I'm only asking who you thought played well. I'm not trying to do you dirty here, but yeah, there's a lot of pressure on those three now, because if it doesn't look like Maresca has the resources to play the type of football and get the results he wants, then the blame has to go somewhere. And I guess the question is, well, it sounds like a really negative question, but who takes the blame first? Is it the manager or is it the people that buy the players?
It's always going to be the manager, I think. The buck stops with the manager, doesn't it, at the end of the day? And that's where it's difficult. It's completely changed. The game has changed. It's like from was thinking about this the other day, and the last manager that I can recall at Chelsea actually having a say, saying, right, I want these players. Remember the summer we signed Diego Costa, Cesc Fabregas, Philippe Luis, Courtois come back, but they were all done before, like I think it was the World Cup. Right. They were all signed before the competition started. Chelsea just went out, went bang, 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 and did it. Mourinho was like, I want him, and it was all done. And, you know, he got the players that he wanted, he got it done early. There was no mucking about. There's no waiting for this. Like, we sit there deadline day, and you just think, why have you left it to, you've had all this time, and you sit and leave it for, you know, this amount of time, and, you know, last minute try and get things done. But that was the last time I remember a manager doing that, actually having a bit of a say. But yeah, I just think the buck's going to stop with the manager, because you've got a situation where, for example, Antonio Conte. So when he come in, he pretty much took over a team that wasn't really his. Right. And if you think back to that season, he come and said, right, we carry on playing how you've been playing. He sort of sat and we were doing all right. And then we got stuffed. We lost against Liverpool. We got stuffed against the Arsenal. And he went, right, from what I've seen, let's change it and go back 3. And what he did is that he used the players that he took over, a bit like, what's his face, Slot at Liverpool. Same sort of thing. Right. He got the best out of the players that he had. So of course, what happened in that summer? He asked for Lukaku and got Morata and stuff like this. But he utilised the players that he had and got the best out of them. Conte. Yeah. The same as Slot with Liverpool. So if you can't get the best out of the players that you've got there, then it's going to fall. It'll fall on you. You know. But and then I guess if you're then left short and then another manager comes in and they're sort of struggling, and then you need to look at the recruitment, I have to say. But I mean, like I said earlier, some of our signings have been great. I mean, something really bugs me with the Palmer deal. There must be something in it to get him for that cheap and for be just what he is. There's got to be like a buyback, something. But yes, like I say, some of the signings have been great. Some of them have been all right. But I mean, some of them, when I say great, I mean look at your Fernanez and your Caicedo. I mean, Caicedo's up there now, one of the best defensive midfielders in the world for me. He's up there with, you know, you can talk about Caicedo in the same sort of breath as not exactly the same sort of levels, but up there with your likes of your Conte and your Makalelis. I think Caicedo's one of these.
100%.
He's one of these players that's got the knack to be in the right place at the right time. But you look at like some of these teams now, looking for these midfielders, and it's like we had people were mocking us for the amount of money we spent on those two. They're taking them in a heartbeat if they had a chance. So some of the signings have been great, but some of them have just been a bit. And then like I said earlier, they come in. It's all data driven. David Fofana, bless him, he was signed because his stats were great. Come in and it's like, no, it's not working. João Felix come back. You know, first time he come in, he was the main man. He was the spark, so we didn't have one, and he thrived. Come back and he couldn't get in because we already had one in Cole Palmer. So, you know, it didn't work out and he went off. And like I say, that's the sort of stuff where you sort of look and these players that we buy and then they're sold on within 6 months or a year, and you just think, what a waste. What are we doing? And that's where you question those making the decisions, the transfers. But I think if the team comes unstuck, then it's always going to be the manager. Always
going to be the manager. But is that what you think, or is that what you think is just the done thing in football? Like, because what I'm really asking is, if you were in a position of power, where would you lie the blame? Like, who takes the blame in your eyes if you were in Bowley or Clearlake's position?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because if you think like that, you're literally saying, well, look, you know, you're the ones that have brought the players in and the manager. I guess it'd be, you look at it as a collective. You know, the people that are in charge of these decisions to sign players and the manager getting the best out of them. And it's difficult. You actually saying that, it makes you think about it, doesn't it? It's like if I was in charge, then I would have questioned, why are we buying so many players that we've never heard of?
But
purely data driven.
You know why they're doing it. You know why they're doing it, Andy. Of course.
Because they're making it. They're going to make a profit and flog them on.
But since when are we like that?
Since when are we a business like that? You know what I mean?
I mean, I will say one thing, which is that I don't have a problem with us flipping players like Madueke, potentially Jackson. That could happen. Like, I think deals like that are really good, to be honest with you, because I don't think either of those players won us the Premier League anyway. So if you are churning through those players and it's profitable, see, you know, we don't want to turn into accounting FC, but unfortunately, the way FFP works and everything around, they kind of have to be to an extent. We've got a smaller stadium. We've got to make up the funds somehow, and if that means flipping players, my season ticket prices don't continue to go up, then I'm okay with that. But obviously, then you want to see results on the pitch as well. I mean, just going back to the point you made about Antonio Conte, I think it's really interesting. You mentioned how he changed after the Arsenal game when he worked with the players that he had.
Yeah.
But the difference between Conte and Maresca is Conte, that was his first season in English football. That was his first season at Chelsea. This is Maresca's second season. So he's already had time with this squad. So, I mean, what does that tell you about the situation?
Exactly. I mean, and this is what I've been saying since last year and stuff like that about being a one tactic. The problem that we've got at the minute in these games where we struggle is we bring players on to have a go in the same position and see if you can do any better, basically. So the example I always give is West Brom at home, Antonio Conte, Tony Pulis has turned up with his horrible team he used to turn up with. And in that game, Antonio Conte made 3 subs, and every time he made a substitution, he switched to formation. What he did is he chased the game. So in my view, you're a manager, coach, whatever you are. You have an influence on the team before you make your team selection. You motivate the players to go out on that pitch. You deal with it at half time. You do exactly the same thing, but you also do it in game. And listen, I'll give the guy his credit, Maresca. He's always up. He's always talking to the players. He's giving direction and stuff like that. But when we sort of struggle to break these sides down, and we look like we are really struggling, and we make someone goes off and someone comes on and they're in the same position and they've got the same struggles, I just refer to that, make the change, and Conte switched the tactic, and he forced the result, because what he did, he made so many changes to the formation, and it was the game where Costa went out wide, barged the centre back off the ball, we cut inside left foot, top corner, we won it 1-0. But that come about because he made the changes to force a bit of space or get Costa isolated on a centre back, and he changed it. He managed the game for the side of the pitch, and managers have got to manage the players. They've got to have relationships with players. They've got to be tactically aware and stuff like this. And this is where frustration comes, because you look at the players that we've got, you look at the possibilities we've got with formations and stuff like this. And I just think that we're pigeonholed into one way of playing, and when it doesn't work, we sort of run out of ideas, and that's why people get frustrated. And this is what I'm saying. So in this situation, going back to your original point, the technical staff and the recruitment team are bringing these players in different positions, these young up and players, and some established, and they're saying to the manager, "There you go." And if it's not working for whatever reason, then you would ask questions. Well, why isn't it working? And you're sitting watching the games yourself, and everyone can see that the way in some games we're playing, we can't break teams down that sit in a low block. They just sit in compact because they know we want to try and play through the lines, and it's just frustrating. It's so frustrating, it really is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what else is frustrating as well is if Palmer is going to be out for a long time. Like you mentioned, it could be the case earlier. Here's an interesting stat for you. So we've played 67 games with Cole Palmer, 11 without. This is in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And our win percentage with him is 52%. Without him, it's 36%. Our goals per game is 2 per game with him, just over 1 without him. You can see what a massive impact he makes. Now, obviously, you have to take that with a pinch of salt to an extent, because you got Pochettino last season, and I don't really want to mix what Poch did with what Maresca did. I think it's important to separate the two, but you can see the value he's got in the squad as well. So maybe this is. Well, I'm definitely not justifying why we brought in players like Buonanotte, but I actually think when Buonanotte got into the game yesterday in the second half against Lincoln, he was all right. Honestly, I think like any 10, once you get on the ball and you've got an ability to, well, we already know he has the ability, but once you receive the ball and you can find the players and link up, then that's all you need. And he did that and he got his goal as well. I mean, what's your take on Buonanotte? We know that João Pedro can play in a 10 as well, but that would mean you'd continue seeing Tyreek George up front, which even though he scored, I still don't think anyone else really likes that. Although I have to say, mate, what a goal.
It's a great finish.
That was an unreal goal. I was there at half time and I was like, get him off. And then I walked in the stadium and obviously he scored and I was like,
I mean, it's a great finish. It's instinctive, isn't it? Outside the box to hit it. You know, the instinct to have a pop, but it was a great finish. I think Buonanotte is like, I think he's plugging the gap of signing. I mean, by all accounts, you know, he's got massive ability. I'm not knocking the guy. I've not seen much of him, to be fair. He did all right for when he, like the second half, as I say, he took his goal, a little bit fortuitous with how it fell, but he looks tidy. He looks someone that likes to link up. He makes himself available for the ball all the time, so he's busy. Like I say, I mean, you have to have players that can unlock the door. That's what Palmer does. He makes it look simple. I mean, the game, you know, make the ball do the work. He never gets tired. You know, that's what we're told is when we're youngsters and we're playing football and this sort of stuff. And Palmer he's one of these people that's just got the ability just to see that pass, a bit like Fabregas used to be. Just sees a pass and just put it on a sixpence. And believe it or not, they're few and far between, which sounds ridiculous because you're talking about people that are earning hundreds of thousands of pounds a week and this sort of stuff. And it's like, but I mean, you mentioned like João Pedro playing as a 10 and Tyreek George. So look at the Fulham game. So Delap goes off injured. And you're sitting there thinking, okay, bring Gittins on, put João Pedro up front, put Gittins on the wing with Neto and put Estevao as a 10. And we put João Pedro, we put him where he was still, and we put Tyreek George up front. And it's like, he's not a striker. He can't play up front. You know, he might have a good go and he works hard, you know, but he's not a striker. That's not his game. You know, it's, and like you say, for a 10, it's someone that's got that ability to see what's around them, have like an instinct to know where the space is and just and see the pass. And that's the thing. So it's like, think of Hakim Ziyech back in the day, right? We all knew that he was a winger, was an outstanding winger at Ajax. He was brilliant. He could pick a pass, put it on sixpence, because when he played on the wing, he would turn, he'd be like facing sideways. He can see everything around him. He can see behind him, he can see in front of him, he can see this way. So when he's got the ball, he's got a picture already in his head because he can see the game. So then look at the way when he played for us as a number 10, he's got someone sitting right up against him. He's got his back to goal. All he can see is what's coming to him. He can't see around him. And basically you're killing the ability of the player that to be impactful. And it's like, so whatever happens, we're not going to change our formation. We're going to stick with the 4-2-3-1. We're going to rely on number 10. I mean, think of the games, the 3 games we've got coming up: Brighton, Benfica, Liverpool. We need a number 10 that's going to unlock the door, find the space, unlock the door, and we need to come up with a solution as to who it's going to be. Because I personally think João Pedro is much better playing leading the line. He's already put himself about. He can show he can get up there and win headers, and you know he can hold the ball up. He can link the play. I was totally wrong about him when we signed him. I questioned it based on.
I did as well. I thought we totally overspent. And to be fair, I've still sort of argued that. But if it continues, you would argue that we could have paid more and still justified the price tag. So he's been a revelation.
But he's really impressed me. Like the way he holds the ball up as well at times. He's under real pressure, but he's got the strength to hold the ball up. So I think we need to stick him up front and come up with a solution as a number 10. Is it Buonanotte? Is it Estevao? I would go with Estevao for me, 100%.
Estevao and the 10. Yeah, I definitely the first choice. I'm with you. I do think that. I mean, I quite like Estevao on the right as well, especially if that means that. Because I wasn't particularly convinced by Gittins. Maybe Garnacho gets more minutes. I'm actually a fan of that signing. I think the Garnacho was good value for money. I think it was fair.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a great deal. I don't think it was a terrible deal. I think everyone basically, it was amicable. But I mean, what did you make of his performance? Because I thought, even though we were poor in the first half, he was one of our sort of bright sparks. But there's some people still saying that it's not good enough. And I don't really get that, because I think you're only as good as your environment at times, and you're only as good as the players around you. If there's no link up, then you have to do it all on your own. And to those people criticizing Garnacho and Enzo Fernanez to an extent as well, I just think that, although I think Enzo's a slightly different context, I think it's so early to judge a player like that. But what's your take on Garnacho? And would you start him on the left from now on? Would he be your first choice on that side?
I like him. I like the signing. I like my wingers to be direct, to have a go, to try and beat a player. Far too often we see him come inside to spaces which is already condensed in midfield and just running into trouble. I like him because he is direct. He's willing to take people on, to have a go. He's pacey as well. I like the signing. And I would champion him playing on the left-hand side and Neto on the right. As I say, if you're going to go with Estevao as a 10, I think Gittins is someone that just needs something to just sort of get it going for him, I think, here. I think he started off his instincts, to me, are good. His football instincts are good because he's looking to take people on. He's looking to maybe get out on the byline, but then sometimes he just, I'm not sure if it's something that he's been asked to do. It's like, if you can't get down the line and you must keep hold of possession and go backwards to keep hold of the ball. And so, I mean, that's the sort of stuff you've got to take into consideration as well when you look at the wingers. But I just think at the minute as well, I think, Pedro Neto, he seems like he's a bit angry these days, isn't he? He's one of these players that if he doesn't get the ball right, the arms go up, and he's quite a frustrated figure at the minute. I think the guy is just brilliant, Neto. I think he always scored against us. He's someone that pace to burn. I think we need to give him the ball as often as we can. And if you can get Garnacho playing on the left, and you can get that, the link with João Pedro, then I think that we could. Let's go direct. Let's not play through a 10 at times. Let's just get it in the midfield and get wide and just take these people on and get crosses in the box and get the 10. Estevao supporting João Pedro, being close to him to mop up. So like I say, it's. I think Garnacho is a real good signing, and I think he will be someone that will prove a lot of people wrong. I think he sort of left United in a bit of a cloud, but talk about attitude, stuff like that. But I thought, like you said, I thought he was bright the other day. I didn't think there was an issue. I thought he was quite bright.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it'd be nice to see some end product, but it's not easy when you look at the team performance as a whole. I mean, we spoke about Caicedo. No doubts there, he's one of the best in his position in the world. I think any team in world football would take that man straight away. They wouldn't even consider it. And he is worth 100 mil. Probably worth more. I mean, you can justify. Do you know what? Probably the only player we spent over 100 million on that I would argue we could still make profit on. And that is a compliment in itself. And I believe, by the way, if Chelsea did, were open to selling him, we would make a profit on Caicedo. By the way, I hope we don't, and I'm sure we won't. But that
please God, no.
But
there's rumours in there about. There's rumours about Camavinga at Real Madrid, isn't there? That apparently we're looking at him, and we could, maybe he's someone for the summer. I like Lavia. No, I wouldn't say
not
that.
To replace it, just to bring him in.
Yeah. Because the problem
is always injured, so I mean that you can understand it to an extent, but he still won't get that many minutes. I don't see him playing every week. Because I'm a fan of Santos, mate. Like, I think we've got to talk about Fernanez and Santos as well, because Fernanez is a player that I think he had a really tough start last season, got a lot better. This season has been slightly mixed, although I would argue he hasn't been terrible. I don't think he's been great. What's your take on Fernanez, and would you start him against Brighton?
Yeah, I mean, I'd start him against Brighton. I think Fernanez is solid. I think he'll give you at least a 6.5, 7. But again, we're looking for 8s, as we said, and above. I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves for his ability on the ball. I think he's got himself involved in certain things with a certain Mr. Mount with Man United, which we always see.
That happened at the Bridge as well. I think that's like a ongoing feud.
He was involved with one of the Lincoln players the other night as well, and that kept on going. But I think what's impressed me is his ability to make those late runs in the box or make the runs in the box and get on the end of them and stuff like that. And the thing is, goals from central midfield are like a godsend. They're like gold dust. A goal scoring midfielder that's not the likes of Cole Palmer, few and far between. And I think Enzo, he might have days where he seems like he's a bit under the radar, but for the most part, like I say, he's quite solid. His use of the ball's good. He'll work hard. He works his socks off. He'll put a tackle in, which is what you want. But yeah, I'd start him against Brighton, 100%. 100%.
Do you think that the fact that because I agree with you, it's nice to have goals from midfield. Like that's something that you can clearly see there's influence from the manager there, because Maresca said it when he played against Leicester. I think he scored against Leicester as well last season. He's telling Enzo, make more runs in the box, get in a position to score. But the flip side of that is we saw Fernanez under Potter, and I thought he was really good when he first joined the club, and he was in that sort of Jorginho role, spreading the play, being the first player to receive the ball from defence and able to pick those passes as well. Yeah. Do you think there's an element of, he's getting the goals, he's getting more goals, and that's almost affecting the other role that he has to play building up? He gave the ball away for the he did the pass that allowed Lincoln to score that goal. Like if that was Fernanez under Potter, I just don't think that happens, right? I just don't think that happens. So I do see a correlation in terms of he's doing one thing really well, but actually we're seeing another thing which we know he's already really good at, and he's not performing in that deeper role in the middle. In terms of 50-50s, I don't think he's necessarily picking the passes as well as he normally would. And just defensively, like I don't see Fernanez as a player that we can rely on in the middle. And maybe to counter that, you say, well, we've got Caicedo, so you don't have to worry about it. But it's still something that you want from a player who I would argue should really be more of an all-rounder, considering how much ability he has.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he played that deeper role for Argentina, didn't he, when they won the World Cup? He played a little bit deeper, and he was picking the passes. Yeah. I just think, but again, it's down to the instruction from the manager. If he's being told to sit in and do his defensive work as the priority, and then anything else on top of that, then he's going to sit deeper, isn't he? At the end of the day, if he's been told to make the late runs in the box, he'll make them. I just think I don't think he gets, like I say, it's a bit of a different opinion to you, but I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. I think, yes, he has games where he will make that pass, or he'll give the ball away, but everyone does. I just think that he's solid, he's reliable. He's going to work hard in that area. He's going to have a bit of a presence, which is what you need in the middle of midfield. But yeah, I think that, if you think about it, so Andre Santos, don't get me wrong, I think Andre Santos is up and coming. I think he's a great player. Does Andre Santos have the same influence as Enzo in a game like Liverpool on Saturday at the Bridge? The only way is if you put him in, and that's the problem, isn't it? It's like, we say to these players, they need the experience. It's like, well, the only way you get it is by playing. But would we do that? Would you play him over Enzo against Liverpool? Andre Santos?
I'll be honest with you. So although I wouldn't use the Lincoln game to criticize Fernanez, I actually think in a weird way, I think people have been really harsh, because he was the only player trying to pick passes in the first half. They weren't coming off, but he was trying. So I say, well, hang on a second. Everyone's complaining that we're passing sideways and backwards, and you've got one player who's actually passing forwards, and he's the one that you're giving all the criticism to. No wonder everybody else is so scared. But to answer your question, I would actually be very open to seeing Santos instead of Fernanez. I've said that since. I mean, I've honestly been open to it since the beginning of the season. If I'm totally honest with you, Andy, I just think that Santos was so good at Strasbourg, so good that you have to take that seriously. You have to, and there's players that come on loan and. Go on loan and perform to a level, and you know that actually they can't make the step up, but you still respect what they've done. And it's different. It's different with Santos. It was different with Petrovic. He was perfectly capable, and you'll probably say the same thing about one or two players at Strasbourg coming in next season. I think Kendry Pires could be one of them. Mike Penders is probably going to be a player that might feature for us as well. So. It's going to be a reoccurring theme. I want more stability, mate. I want more stability. I think defensively, Santos gives you more. I think he gives you a little bit more bite. I think he wins more 50-50s. And I also think he retains the ability to score goals, when given the freedom to go forward. So I would definitely do that. And I'd be interested to see how that partnership with Caicedo, how that gels. Because, we had not got Lavia coming in anytime soon. Although he is training with the squad, I just don't see him as a reliable player. Similar to, Fofana, for example. They're great, but I don't really care about 10 games when you play about 50 or 60. So I take that with a pinch of salt.
So this is where you could turn around then and say, okay, so why can't we play the 4-3-3 then? Why can't you sit and go Caicedo at the base, at the pivot, and you can play Andre Santos and Fernandes, do away with the 10, go with your two wingers and your striker, and be strong in the middle of the park against Liverpool, for example, against their two-man.
Play Palmer on the right.
No, play Garnacho and Neto, and play João Pedro up front, 4-3-3, three-man midfield. But we won't.
So that's if Palmer's injured, presumably.
Well, Palmer's out. Let's face it, he's out. The word is he's torn it, he's groin, and they're debating whether he's going to go into the knife or just give it time to heal. That's the word that's sort of I'm hearing. But yeah. So like I say, so we could go. Like I say, you could go Enzo, you could go Andre Santos and Caicedo as a midfield three, but we're not going to do that because we don't play that way. So, strong midfield, get the ball wide, Enzo can support because he's still got the two in behind him that you're referring to. But we're not going to do that. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, it's I've got no, like I say, Enzo, I think Enzo for me starts, but I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't be outraged if Andre Santos played. As you say, I thought he was great at Strasbourg. I thought the guy's got real talent and yeah, I just think he just needs the only way you're going to really see it is if he gets the minutes and gets the game. So, like I say, it could go either way. But for me, I wouldn't be.
If he doesn't play against Brighton, I think he's going to play against Benfica. So I could definitely see him getting minutes in that game. I'm looking forward to seeing Mourinho as well. I sit in the MHL, but I said to my dad, I was like, he sits in the East. I was like, please let me sit in your ticket, in your seat. I want to be behind Mourinho.
I went to the Fulham game. It's the first time I've been back to the Bridge in 9 years.
Wow!
I had a hiatus. Long story. The size of my channel compared to likes of yourselves and others. The club contacted me via a law firm. Let's just say that, and I was like, right, that's it. So all to do with the thumbnails and stuff.
9 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
wow.
So I was like the last full season I went to was a Conte season.
Oh my God! Well, good to have you back, I guess.
yeah. Like I said, I went against Fulham first time in 9 years. Loved it. I've been going since 1980 when I was 6. So back in the day when the ground used to be as it was, the old shed, the cars behind the thing. My brother's in a wheelchair. He's disabled, unfortunately, but so he would take him, or we'll be sitting in one of those cars that everyone used to take the mickey out of behind the goal. Yeah. But yeah, so I've been going for God knows how long, and then I was threatened with certain things because I had certain images. Managed to turn around and say, "Hold on a minute, you've asked me to do some promotion." So yeah, so I had to change my YouTube channel name. But yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm not going.
You've been doing YouTube for a long time. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
but
it was that long.
yeah, I've been doing. Yeah, so I started doing my blog in 2009, and I just wanted to have a voice. Really, I used to read a lot of stuff like that, and I started doing it on like I got like a Google Blogspot thing, and after 2 years, I had 2,000 views total. And the News Now network contacted me and said, "Can we put your feed on the site?" And I was like, "Yeah, perfect. Yeah, okay." The aggregator, and basically I just post up, and then I literally looked at my analytics, and one of my posts had 250,000 views in 3 days, and I was like, "Wow!" So that's where it all sort of started. But Google, I mean, I got contacted saying, "Oh, these are false records," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And so yeah, I didn't get the advertising revenue for that. 65 million views I had. So then I just thought I'll have a crack at YouTube, as we all do. Let's get amongst it. And I've sort of done it stop start for a while, built up a little bit, stopped, just because of personal circumstances. Like I work a full-time job.
Yeah.
Now I've got a 4-year-old little boy, so I can try and get videos done when I can. I don't know if you've ever seen the live match commentary that I do. I do like ball by ball coverage, like radio style commentary on games.
Okay. Is that on YouTube then?
It's on YouTube, yeah. So, for example, I did the Champions League final, the Man City game, and that was funny because I sat and watched the pre-match with Rio Ferdinand when Guardiola announced the team with no Fernandinho, no defensive midfielder, and Ferdinand was like, "Oh, they're going to be popping the ball about." But I've been saying all week, all the focus is on Man City. Chelsea's always the underdog. I'm quite happy to do that. We're going to beat them. And of course, when we won, because I was doing a commentary on the game, and I think I had 40,000 views in total on that, which was amazing. But after I stopped crying on YouTube after we won it for the second time, my little boy was born literally 2 days later. So yeah, so it was amazing. Best weekend of my life. But yeah, so I did a commentary. So I literally, I do it as if you're listening to it on the radio. I describe where it is, where the ball is. And I don't do that watch along thing. I get involved and do the commentary when I can, but I only do the games that are on TV in the UK for obvious reasons. So yeah, so I do that. So when I get a chance to do it, I do it. So I did the other week. But
okay, but, yeah. So you're still very active, mate. It's good. I mean, I know life gets in the way. I'm totally with you, but you've got to keep it ticking somehow. What's your take on the Brighton game as a whole? Then, I mean, are you feeling confident? I know you were at the Fulham game as well. That was quite a tough match, to be fair.
It was, wasn't it?
So we managed to scrape that one over the line. I think if we are going to win, it may be similar to that style of win. Maybe not winning so pretty, but this is a team that we've struggled against in the past. Yeah. João Pedro's former team, obviously Caicedo, Cucurella. We've taken loads of players from Brighton. One of the running themes that I've heard is all the Brighton players are basically auditioning for a Chelsea transfer. And it's probably right to an extent, but I mean, time will tell.
That's what they say, isn't it? Like Brighton's our feeder club and we're Arsenal's. But
well, we used to be the retirement home, but now we're giving them young players as well.
Yeah, Brighton's a difficult game. It's the thing is as well, and what's great about the Premier League is that, like I said earlier, you got to earn the right to win the game. Anyone can beat anyone on their day. I mean, if you think about when we won the Premier League for the first time, 2004, the standard of the Premier League, like you had like your upper echelons, and you had teams you knew you just. I mean, even John Terry said it in an interview. He said like the levels in training were higher than some of the teams they played against, but it's completely different now. You need to earn the right, and Brighton I think they had a tough start from what I can recall, but they're a team that are a dangerous side. I mean, Danny Welbeck's still about, still a pain in the backside. But they're still organised. They're still gonna cause a threat and be dangerous. I just really hope, and it's been something that happens to us quite a lot, is that it takes us a half to get going. And you wonder why. It's like, you should be motivated to get on that pitch and just go. Some games we have been, but you sit there sometimes and you're like, why is it taking us to half time to wake up, honestly. So I just hope it's not the same. It really it isn't against Brighton. I really, really hope it's not. If it is, it could be a bit of a struggle. Like I say, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the number 10. Is it going to be because he scored? Or is it going to be Buonanotte in there? I'd imagine João Pedro will start up front against his old side. But then again, it's like you play against your old team, and it's like, how's he going to be up against the likes of Lewis Dunk, the man mountain that he is, and the other defenders that he's been playing with before. But yeah, I just hope. I think I put a video out before the Bayern Munich game, and I said that in order for us to have a chance in the game, we got to get the team selection's got to be right, and our substitution's got to be right. And it's the same in every single game. He's got to get the right team selection for Brighton. Hopefully, he doesn't have one eye on Benfica. He probably will, because we got beat against Bayern, so we need to get 3 points on the board. I just hope that, why not go strong, the strongest 11 you've got, and then, hopefully get 2 or 3 up and then take people off. But yes, like I say, you have to earn the right. If you cross that line, you've got to earn the right to win points in the Premier League. And I just hope that we do. I really hope that we do, heading into Benfica and then Liverpool on the weekend after.
No, we need to do something. I mean, I think we need to compete on all fronts. My argument has always been, as long as there is improvement, I don't care if it's third. I don't care if it's by 5 points in terms of our league finish. That is the priority for me. I'd also argue, you may disagree with this, Andy, that we could finish in the same position as last season. We could even finish on less points and still have a better season if we compete in terms of our domestic cups, because we were out against Newcastle, we were out against Brighton. That is something I want to see us take more seriously. We've got Wolves away, which I think is a pretty decent draw, to be honest with you, considering
could be
Arsenal have got Brighton, you've got Newcastle, Tottenham, you've got Liverpool, Palace. I think that those are all harder sides that we could have had. There's obviously a few smaller ones in there, but Wolves.
It's like you said though,
to get a result.
It's like you said last season, Newcastle away, Carabao Cup. Now we beat them a couple of days before that in the Premier League. We go up to Newcastle with the wrong attitude, and we get turned over. So, like we're saying about Wolves being a good draw, it's a great draw, but we've got to have the right attitude and mentality. We've got to go into the game, in the right way. So, anything can happen, but it is a good draw for us compared to the others.
What's our record against Wolves away? I have a feeling that it's not that great though in recent years.
I don't think it's been bad. I don't think it's been too bad. I mean, think of the, you got the goals where we've got 5, where Tomori hit 1, Caldwell in from about 30 yards. You got the game. Was it last season? Yeah, last season. João Felix. Was it last season?
I'm trying to think. So last season we smashed them away. Actually, the season before that they beat us 2-1.
Yeah. Before that, I don't think it's been mega bad, but
I think it's been mixed. I mean, let us know in the chat as well. Like, I don't want to spread disinformation or anything, but I feel like Wolves is one of those grounds that isn't talked. It's not like a bogey ground for us, but
no.
I've never been surprised when we've lost or dropped points there. I've been like, this has been a tough day. I guess Bournemouth's kind of a little bit like that as well, because we have got results at Bournemouth, but not consistently. So, I mean, I would like to see us win the Carabao, mate. I think the Carabao is honestly, people take the piss out of the Carabao. It has more meaning in terms of competitive achievement than the Conference League. It really does.
Jesus,
So people can say what they want about
final, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, even the final, as soon as we brought James on, it was basically over.
But in the final, we go 1-0 down, could have been 2, and then we wake up. So it's just the way we are, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm the same as you. I think you go into every single season, like I said to you before, I come from a time when I, back in the day, it was like, let's finish top half, let's have a good cup run, and try and beat the big teams. And I think you should still value the domestic competitions as much as anything else. And like I say, if you think about it, think of Mourinho's first season. That Carabao or that League Cup win was vital because everyone bought into what we were doing because they were like, this is the first trophy for this group. And, so I'm not saying, obviously, we won the 2 last year, but why not win the Carabao Cup? Go for it.
I mean, if I people will say win the Premier League, win the Champions League, and I say, great. Do you honestly believe that's going to happen? Well, I think the Carabao Cup is that at least gives us some credibility in terms of being able to win 3 trophies in 2 years. Like, call it what you want. And that for me is a real sign of the word we said earlier, stability. Not just stability financially, either success. Everyone's saying, where's our trophies? It's like, hang on a sec, 3 trophies in 2 years is not bad. No. This is all under Maresca, so we've gone from hiring a championship manager, which I called him last season. I do apologize for that. I've apologized many times.
Well, he was, let's be honest.
He was. This is the truth. He was. And now we know what he's capable of. So, that I just want to see us progress, mate. That's my number one priority, and we might not win the league this year. We might not win it next year. I just want us to get better. Because eventually, if we keep progressing, we're going to get there. Surely we're going to get there. I mean, I'm looking at the football gods here, but we've got to start off with Brighton.
I mean, we're talking about that nucleus, that squad. So, of those players that are already part and parcel of the first team or in and around that first team squad, you look at the age of them. Everyone's looking at it thinking, "My God, in 5 years, if this lot stick together, if that's the nucleus, and you add a couple, like maybe 1 or 2." Then you potentially what you've got there, and as a collective, and they've been playing together for that long, looking at hopefully to try and be successful and to try and dominate. But like I say, progression every single year is what you want. For me, I think you bring a person in as a signing, you bring them in to give those players in that position a bit of a kick up the arse to say, right, you need to earn your place, that sort of thing. And getting back to Buonanotte. I don't think he's that player that's going to force Cole Palmer out the team and stuff like that. So this is what I'm talking about with the transfers and that. So yeah, for me, I think is you bring players in to provide instant competition for places. It keeps people on their toes. They got to earn the right to be in the team. If you don't play well enough, you're out. But then progress, like you say, so progress. I mean, taking you back to when Maresca was appointed, I was very pro Pochettino, because of what he did with that last 14 games of the season, got us, into Europe again, got us to 2 finals, obviously, which wasn't great. And then Maresca coming in, I was like, well, this bloke's got to be better than 6th, otherwise, what's the point? And then, to be fair to his credit, he nicked the Champions League's place and did well with it. There was improvement there, 100%. Conference League, if we didn't win that, it was a travesty because, as we said, we all know what that competition was like. And in the one-off game against PSG, identified the weakness, exploited it, just surprised everyone. We're all sitting there going, what is happening here? Like 3 up, cruising. Game, even then, you're like game over because it's a one-off game. But what we need to do in order to improve is everyone needs to improve. The players, the manager, everyone at the club to progress. And like I say, I just hope that there's a point where we can adapt a little bit to what's happening in game, make a tactical switch or 2 now and again to try and force a result. Because as we're talking about, the Brighton game is difficult. The Wolves game away in the Cup could be difficult. It's one of those games where we're mixed results there. Liverpool, we know what Liverpool are like. We've got to be up and at it with them. So we've got it in us. We've proven we can do it on time and time again, but there's been games where we've proven we're not for whatever reason we're not at it. So that's all you want, and that's why that's why fans get frustrated.
100%. It's interesting as well. Earlier on, we there was some news from the Daily Mail. Kieran Gill, basically saying that Chelsea have left some cash in reserves for the January window if they decide that an area needs strengthening. And that gives you an inkling that maybe they thought they were taking a risk not signing a goalkeeper or centre back, and they may be forced into investing again in the next window. So listen, if for whatever reason we do end up going in and we reinforce our squad, that's another thing that I want to say. Like, I don't know about you, Andy. Well, I get the sense that you were like most people. You wanted a centre back, full stop.
Yeah.
Me personally, like, I understood the situation. I do think it was financial. That's why they didn't do it, because of UEFA.
Yeah.
So I have to have a little bit of empathy, because I don't want to get Chelsea to get banned from Europe or anything like that. So you have to play by the rules. But equally, you're saying you've signed all these other players. You spent all this money on other positions, like not just that one window, over years. And we still don't have like enough cover so that when one of our centre backs gets injured, everyone's panicking. And that's, that's the other side of the argument. So I get both sides. I really do. Yeah. But if we then went into January and invested, I'm looking at the season prior where Vega left, Felix left, we downgraded. Yeah, hopefully that can push on. And I want to equally say that we're having a slightly shaky start, but I don't mind that if it means that in the latter stage of the season we're going to finish strong. I'm not sitting here talking about Pochettino, really tough season and then a great end. But we had our quiet spell basically from January last season, and if that can be us kickstarting a really good run of form and comfortably cementing top 4 on top of hopefully other competitions, then I don't mind that.
Yeah, I think what you have to factor in as well is last year you were able to literally play a completely different 11. You had the A and B team, didn't we? You had the A team for the Premier League, you had the B team for the Conference League, even though it wasn't officially a B team, but we all knew it was. This time around, you haven't got that. So it's like, you could rest the players, for example, is what I'm referring to. We can't really do that at the moment, especially now you've got Delap out, you've got Palmer's missing, Colwell's out. So, I just think, you think about the centre-backs that have gone in recent times, your Tomori's, your Mark Gurhey's gone. Look at them now, especially Gurhey. Apparently we had the option on it, but he doesn't want to come back to us. He's got his heart set on Liverpool. And so, like I say, it's you're never going to know at the time, I guess, where you make a decision to sell up. But I think we all want progress. We all want us to be up there challenging. But I think 1 or 2 positions, maybe 3, maybe we can strengthen those. And then but I like you say, I think if we can get back in the top 4 this season, have a good cup run, maybe win a domestic cup, at least make a good show of ourselves in the Champions League, ruffle a few feathers. You never know where it'll take us on a single game, on a one-off game. You never know. So, and we've got it in us. And the thing is that everyone's going to write us off anyway. So I like that. I like being the underdog when it comes to Champions League and stuff like this. But I think we just need, we're a couple of signings short to be real challenging for the big, your Champions Leagues, your Premier Leagues. And I'm sure, this is when you look at the recruitment team and say, right, there's the identified, we've identified the areas, go and get them. So that's when, if they don't, that's when they are questioned. So let's see.
Hey, we'll see what happens, Andy. But listen, I really appreciate you coming on, mate. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
It's been great. Well, you've got to get you back on again. Where can people find you, Andy?
Over on just on my, obviously the YouTube channel Chelsea Staff, and I'm on X as well when I can be. Just over there. And like I say, I get on when I can. I try and get at least 1 video a week done. And like I say, look out for the live match commentaries when I can. So hopefully not this weekend, but the weekend after. I can't do the weekend after, I'm away. Anyway, but I'll try and get on there and I do just have a look at the channel, have a look at the live commentary. It's a little bit different to a watch along. It's actual ball by ball coverage. So hopefully people enjoy it. But thanks. Honestly, I appreciate the time. And I've never done a collab with anybody else.
Never?
No, been all my time. So
wow.
I've got never. No.
Why?
Just been independent. It's like I've never, not that I've turned people down, never been asked.
Seriously?
Maybe it's just me. Maybe.
That's mad. Well, I have to say, I'm surprised. Listen, hopefully this is the start of many more collaborations.
Hopefully. But yeah, I'll have to get you on mine because I've got an idea for a series I want to run. Like a bit of a, like I say, about Chelsea fans themselves and putting the emphasis on the fans, and so I'll be in touch and maybe I'll get you onto mine.
Hey, looking forward to it. Everyone, check out Andy's channel, Chelsea Daft, and we'll see you very soon, mate. All the best, guys.